Hello and welcome to the All Monitor Brief. It's Monday, September 9th. I'm Kristen Tallman. Today is a segment with All Monitor's senior research analyst, Sam Wendel, who will talk about how the NFL loosening its investment restrictions could pique some interest from Middle East investors. But first, let's get you caught up on the headlines. And thanks so much. As in past week, we took a short break, a little summer vacation, but we're back for the fall. All right, let's dive right in. Turkey will take all legal actions to hold Israel accountable for the killing of a U.S.-Turkish pro-Palestinian activist, including applying to the International Court of Justice, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said on Monday. The two unsuccessful candidates in Algeria's presidential elections contested on Monday the turnout and percentage of votes they won in the weekend ballot, denouncing the election as a fraud. A Turkish soldier was killed on Monday in clashes with militants of the outlawed Kurdish Workers' Party in Iraqi Kurdistan during an ongoing Turkish offensive against the group. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov visited Riyadh on Monday, where he met with the Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and other officials from the six-nation Gulf Cooperation Council. U.S. Central Command Chief Michael Kurilla arrived in Israel on Sunday for meetings with senior Israeli security officials in a visit focusing on potential threats from Lebanon-based Hezbollah and Iran. The United Arab Emirates and India signed a series of agreements in various fields Monday, including in nuclear and other energy sectors, in a sign of further cooperation between the two countries. Hundreds of mourners gathered Monday in Nablus in the occupied West Bank to pay respects to a U.S.-Turkish activist killed while protesting Israeli settlements in the nearby town. The European Union said Monday its allies had shared credible intelligence that Iran had supplied Russia with ballistic missiles, a claim rejected by Tehran but not explicitly denied by the Kremlin. A Lebanese judge Monday issued an arrest warrant for ex-central bank chief, a judicial official said, after the embattled former governor was questioned in an embezzlement case. Jordanians will head to the polls on Tuesday to vote for a new parliament amid widespread frustration over a lagging economy and the ongoing war in Gaza. And more than a year of civil war in Sudan has killed more than 20,000 people, the World Health Organization said Sunday, following a United Nations report that accused the warring parties of possible war crimes. All right, now onto the main segment. Hey, Sam, welcome to the All Monitor Brief.
Hey, Kristen, thanks for having me.
So you wrote this really intriguing piece this past week that the NFL approved a major rule that would change the way that it allows private equity funds to invest into stakes in franchises, allowing them to buy up to 10% stakes. It's made some consider that Middle East, North African investors might want to dive in. Can you walk us through what the change means?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it means for the first time that institutional money can enter the league, which has kind of had conservative ownership rules in the past, which is notable because it's America's richest sports league. The 32 franchises together are valued at almost $200 billion, and it's been off limits to most investors, including Middle East investors who have been very sports hungry in recent years. That said, these are small stakes, and they still do not allow sovereign wealth funds to participate. However, sovereign wealth funds can be investors in the private equity funds that have been approved to invest in the league. So in theory, someone like the Saudi Arabia's PIF could take a small stake in a franchise in the near future.
Yeah, and I guess there's been consideration that Middle East investors might be interested because of other sport-related investments. What has the flurry of investment been? I know the Saudis have invested in golf. What is their engagement with sport-related investments been?
Well, in the U.S., there have been fairly limited, Middle East investments, although last year, Qatar's sovereign wealth fund took a 5% stake in the parent company of Washington, D.C.'s NBA and WNBA and NHL teams, which turned some heads. But, at this juncture, it's unlikely that they're probably going to want a small indirect stake in the NFL. Just that doesn't really fit with their strategy. They're often looking for, as one, expert described it to me, they want trophy assets. They don't want cash cows. So this is an investment opportunity that probably is not going to pique their interest as it stands. However, it's an important move because it opens the door for the first time for new investors to really enter the league. And the 10% cap is very, very low. The NBA, for example, allows 30%. And so there are expectations that this could pave way for more opportunities in the future that may be more attractive to golf money.
Yeah. And I'm curious, from a U.S. perspective, from NFL fans, do you think they would be okay with having foreign owners?
I think there would be some backlash. It would, as the Live Golf episode kind of demonstrated, people were a little queasy about the prospect of, Saudi Arabia entering American sports and kind of upending these, kind of prized, patriotic sort of platforms, if you will. And so it's something that I think would probably be controversial, but at the end of the day, in the future, sovereign wealth funds might be kind of harder to keep at arm's length, especially because valuations in the NFL have gone up so much that there's really very few individuals who can afford to invest in an NFL team. So if they want to keep valuations high, they're going to have to evolve their ownership structure and kind of embrace new, sources of funding. And that will likely mean in the future that sovereign wealth funds will, be looking a little bit closer at these investments potentially.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, who's to say that Middle East investors will bite? If maybe not yet, but we'll be sure to be on the lookout and come back to you if there's any movement.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Sam. That's it for today, September 9th. You can read all these stories and more at allmonitor.com.